girly, are you a Lana Del Rey fan? Do you have the CoStar astrology app on your phone? What about the Dior lip oil in your bag? And are Girl Interrupted and the Virgin Suicides some of your favorite movies? I got news for you. You might be a female manipulator. Relationships and manipulation are nothing new. And like anything that's been around for that long, it's gotten to the point where we've talked about it and made so many films and songs and books about the experience that it's transcended its place as just something that's relatable, reaching the most supreme form of an idea, a meme. And we're not just talking about any old meme here. Push aside your memes about gaslighting, move your love-bombing memes to the side, and forget about your guilt-tripping memes because today, we are talking about female manipulators. Now you might be asking, what do two dudes wearing silly outfits sitting on a couch on the internet know about women? And the answer:
so where exactly did the female manipulator come from? Looking at the findings from our exclusive alt-girl research facility, our contemporary female manipulator can find her roots in the 2014 Tumblr sad girl trope. While some might have been busy on Tumblr looking at photoshops of Arizona iced tea with Japanese text, or talking about Homestuck and Super Hulock, these girls were the type to spend day and night reposting black and white gifs of Lana Del Rey, or sad captions and aesthetic pictures of girls in grid skirts using drugs. So why exactly in our current era of aesthetics, where everything about the past 20 years became nostalgic all at once, did this period of 2014 Tumblr catch the attention of Zoomers? Maybe it's because so many artists from that time are now absolute legends in our culture. Maybe it's because the older siblings of these kids were alive during that time and the new generation looks up to them. Or maybe girls just want to have fun. Thinking of the kind of music that was popular at this time, we of course have the queen of the sad girl genre, Lana Del Rey. Throughout all evolutions of the female manipulator, she's truly the unifying artist. No one captures that youthful and ever so pretty image and sound like she does. At the time, she was widely known for her iconic release Born to Die, an incredibly chic pop album about these dreamy stories of love, loss, life, and death. Beyond this album, she would go on to release many other classics such as Ultraviolence, Norman Rockwell, and even today, despite the mixed praise and criticism she's received for various reasons, no one has quite made as much of an impact as Lana when it comes to influencing other female pop artists and empowering women. But let's not forget the other champions of the sad girl genre, like the 1975 or Melanie Martinez, who are seemingly more popular now than they were back then. Perhaps you were a bubblegum bitch who loved Marina and the Diamonds, or maybe you weren't like the other sad girls and preferred the work of Vessel-era 21 pilots.
It all feels like it was just yesterday, despite the fact that it was only 23 years ago. But let's be real here. Not everybody had such a good time in 2014 getting to prance around, having fun with the girlies, and listening to Lorde. It was called sad girl music for a reason. Lying underneath all of this sad posting were real problems like depression and anxiety, or eating disorders and family issues. And not to mention how much high school sucked back then. Not to discredit all the things that pandemic-era high schoolers had to go through, but at least you didn't have to see this everywhere you went. Whenever there's real sadness, there's a real opportunity for one to be tempted into falling down the pit of hopelessness and despair. And at the bottom of this pit, we find a different type of sad girl, the femcel. Besides both having personality disorders, daddy issues, and a nicotine addiction, the femcel is chronically online. While this type of girl has arguably become more trendy than the sad girl due to the rise of internet irony and fringe communities gaining cultural significance in recent years, the term existed long before our modern internet communities. The only real difference is that it wasn't something that people were making Serial Experiments Lane memes about. Femcels are much like their male counterparts, incels, in that they believe their failure to find a partner for love is beyond their control. Except, instead of being driven to become a looks-maxing, schizo, hyperborean lifter who feels like Travis Bickle, the femcel spectrum ranges from autistically obsessing over Chris Chan and bimbo Y2K aesthetics to Clementine from Eternal Sunshine and coquette doll with hints of stan culture. The same can be said for the music taste of a femcel, with some being more inclined towards anime OSTs and Vocaloid songs, and others maladaptively daydreaming to Fiona Apple and Phoebe Bridgers. I mean, will people just go outside and get off the computer for once? Instead of hitting up your plug, why don't you go hit up Indeed for some jobs? Am I right, ladies and gentlemen? We've addressed the sad girls and femcels, but people being depressed and alienated is something that we're already pretty familiar with. What about the girls who really reach the point of no return? Girls who enter sociopathic territory with no sympathy for people's emotions or well-being. These are the girls who would happily watch the world burn. Finally, we meet the female manipulator.
If sad girls are chaotic good, and femcels are chaotic neutral, then the female manipulator would be true chaotic evil. These are the girls who will draw you in with their Patrick Bateman-like curated feminine beauty, their flirtiness, and the scent of their Ariana Grande cloud perfume. They'll charm you with their taste in music, whether it's an ear for the fairy tale-like nature of Bjork's music, the genre bending of Grimes' works, or the absolute down badness of Mitski. But it's all a trick. These girls are out for blood. And the worst part? The female manipulator in her Dahmer-esque ways sees all of this as just being silly, and all for funsies, while all 6 of her situationships are on their knees, waiting for the next text back as she's making her next Pinterest mood board about euphoria. Alright, so let's come back down to the real world for a second. Is this the real life, or is it all just femme fantasy? One thing's for sure. It's definitely a reaction to this absurd culture we live in, where many of the youngins have no North Star for how we should healthily integrate into the world. And really, how are these self-classifications any different than people obsessing over something like their zodiac signs? Another female manipulator trait, by the way. Not to preach, but nowadays we're always in conflict with each other because of how easy it is to be wrapped up in your own little slice of life, and forget that we actually have to be serious about caring for each other and being a real human being. It's hard to stop doom scrolling, to put down the bong, and to overcome anxiety and depression. It's easy and fun to just act like you're in The Sims character creator, picking and choosing your personality and clothes, and essentially being a walking and talking meme. And I'm not just talking about the girlies, guys do this too in their own ways.
Just because you like Lana Del Rey or Mitski or Fiona Apple doesn't make you a manipulator. What does make you a manipulator is taking the pain you have and throwing it back to the people around you. No woman is an island, and we're all here on the same planet. And if all of us decide to lift each other up, to go out there and slay, to start serving cunt, little by little, things will become so much more yassified. Now, let's stand together for our national anthem.
Neopunk FM.